Hi guys, me again, Newbie Store. I just thought I'd discuss a few things. The most tour guides guidelines, tour guiding, tour guides should know. Being quite long in the industry, just a few things that one notices as you go around guiding and so on. Number one, we need to realize that guiding is a profession, and we have to act professional all the time. It is a profession that is enjoyable. We get to see our country most of the times free of charge. It's an honor to be an ambassador for one's country. You're showcasing your country. So there are quite a few rules around guiding, and not everybody will agree with me and all these sort of things, but that is how it is, and that is what makes the industry all exciting, isn't it? Oh, cheers, having a nice cup of tea. There was a bit of Amarula in it. It would have been a lot better. Anyway, back to guiding. When we all became guides, we had to sign a sort of form with the Department of Tourism, a form with all different ethics and rules. And one of the problems I see more and more on the guiding, in the guiding world, is handing out a business cards of one's personal business to visitors to the country that you have agreed to take on tour on behalf of another tour operator. Guys, it doesn't work that way. Having worked in back office for numerous companies, from Intercape to companies that deal with ships, you have got no idea on how much work goes on behind the scenes to plan those tours. I have my own tour operation as well, Dwika Travel, and there's no way as Dwika Travel would we ever, doing work, having our vetoes go out for tour operators, would we dare to have the tour guide and driver that we have give out any form of information of Dwika Travel to those clients? If those clients are, let's say, TourVest's clients, they are TourVest clients. And if the guide is good enough and the client asks for, if they're going to come back to South Africa, can you as a guide be used? Your simple answer would be, please get back to the tour operator when you come back, or whichever tour operator you're choosing. They can request me to guide them. If I'm available, I can do so. Failing to do such a thing would mean that you are actually poaching the clients from that tour operator that has sometimes spent millions and lots of time on marketing a specific product. Another thing that I've come into view, and please, you guys can criticize me, I've hardened up over the years, is the free coffee, free lunch story. There seems to be a constant attitude that should a guide take people to, let's use example, a winery for lunch, that the guide is entitled, and I'm using the word entitled, to a free meal. You as a guide are actually entitled to nothing when it comes to lunch. You're not even entitled to a free coffee. You are employed temporary for an amount of days by a tour operator to do the best job that you can for their clients, not for yourself. And this means if you go to a wine estate such as, let's say, Dalle Graaf, where they do not give free meals, you either got to use your lunch allowance that you get from the tour operator, if you get a lunch allowance, or you use your initiative and you will then make lunch at home like any other industry of the world that is not in tourism. You take your lunch to work, sit under the tree, sit onder die ou boom met 'n bietjie koffie, bit of coffee or cold drink, and have your sami. Or if you've got a nice driver, ask him to go just down the road to the spa or to wherever and have a pizza and a lekker chat with your driver. But meals is not an entitlement. The aim of the job of guiding is to provide your clients with the best value for money travel holiday that they can have within South Africa. Another topic I want to turn to is the topic when we come to, and this is a topic that is all over South Africa when people arrive here, is about crime. We, as many South Africans, feel that crime has to be highlighted in our briefings if you are doing a briefing of a tour, and we try to warn our clients of crime, but we have to be careful that we don't overemphasize on crime. So using words like, yes, we do have crime, as in other major cities of the world. Just be careful. Cell phones, wallets, and draw money in areas that has a high pedestrian rate. And make sure who's around you. And that should be enough. When you're going into townships for tours, and it's social economic circumstances that crime in townships are a bit higher, we are with them. And you as a tour guide are the eyes and ears of what's going around. And it doesn't have to be dangerous in a township. Don't know why Sarika didn't put a bit of amarula, a bit of the juices of Africa with my beverage. It would have been nice. But another point I want to make is guide-driver interaction. When you are driving, when you're in a coach with a driver, you are bonding, you are forming a relationship, you are making, as a team, you are making that tour work. Travelers can immediately feel if there is a bad vibe between a driver and the guide. Now, to make a tour work, there are certain things that have to happen. One happens on the start of the day. Sitting down with your driver and going through that itinerary, making sure he knows or she knows which route you want to take. You go through his meal money. What I normally do is, if I'm doing a national tour, I will first give him the Johannesburg leg of the money, be it first day Apartheid Museum, Soweto, Constitution Hill, whatever, and the second day Pretoria. He will get his meal money for those days. One is because you are not sure if he is going to be your driver to Kruger National Park. He could fall ill, getting another driver. So that you have money in the kitty to give that other driver taking over his meal money. And once you go on to the Kruger, he's more than likely going to be your driver to Durban via Swaziland. And then you can give his lunch money. I see a new trend is that there are drivers asking for their lunch money or tip money if it's included in the program towards the end of the tour. And that's perfectly fine. That is the prerogative of the driver, although personally I do not like carrying drivers' money on me. I like to get it to them as quick as possible. Second is, I normally, for my driver, I tell the groups, look, there has been a tip provided for the driver, which I'm giving, but should you feel that he is excelled in his job, he's cleaned the coach every day, he's made it spotless, and yes, it is part of his job, and it is part of his salary. But it's not necessary, in KwaZulu-Natal or somewhere you may be going on a dirt road out of the lodge, the bus is dirty again. But he's made a point that when those travelers get in a clean bus, or in the bus in the morning, it is clean. Whether it's going to get dusty 10 meters down the road, he's made a point of it. So he's worth that extra bit of money. Another thing is, although you've gone over the tour with the driver at the start of your tour, sit down with your driver at night or at breakfast. Go over the day's route. I would like you to go down this road, doing a city tour of Cape Town. We're going to start Convention Center, around the statue of Diaz, up the Herengracht, past the station, left into Strand, right at the castle, go all the way up Buitekat to Roland, turn right. We're going to slow down at the Parliament. People take photos, speak about Louis Botha, and carry on. This driver then knows what he has to do. This takes the pressure off you as a guide to constantly look over the shoulder to make sure your driver is going the right way. Teamwork. This also brings me to the interesting subject that has been surfacing on the NFTGA. And may I just add, the NFTGA and the Zania and Francois are doing an excellent job. I think they're doing a brilliant job. Far better than other tour guide organizations. I'm not going to mention names. But your driver does not have to do things that is not included on the itinerary. It's not a must. It is a bonus if you have a driver that is happy enough to go the extra kilometer or 10 into a shop that you get some sort of commissions. Commissions are not part of tour guiding. You are being paid to be a tour guide. It's a bonus, it's not a must. And that is why you share with your driver 50%. Because he has agreed to do it. I've heard guides say, oh, drivers 30%, why do they deserve commissions? Well, now I'm going to ask you a question. Many new coach companies, when a driver bus breaks down next to the road, he's not allowed to change a tire. You mean to wait for a tire company to arrive. Now imagine you're on your way to Aquila, or you're on your way to God's Window. You get a flat tire. You're going to wait hours for a tire company to come out? Most of the cases, your driver is changing that tire to get your group and you on the go, not to miss out on those days' activities. If something happens mechanically on that bus, on that fan belt goes, a lot of companies say, call the mechanic. But the driver sorts it out. Not you as a guide, the driver. So just as much as you are doing work in booking excursions and making sure rooms are okay and dinner reservations are okay, the driver, he's doing his other part as being operating the bus. And that is why drivers and guides split commissions at shops 50-50. It's as simple as that, guys. That argument of 30% to the driver and 70% of the commission goes to the guide because he's arranged it is absolutely nonsense. Okay? It just doesn't work. So that should be happening. Being a guide and passing exams at certain colleges brings you on the level of unit standard seated to be a guide. It doesn't mean guide learning stops there. Read, research. But never be afraid to say to a client, I don't know the answer. But always say, I will find you the answer. Guests will be happy with that. Because you are a tour guide doesn't mean you're an encyclopedia. You're not google.com or yahoo.com. You don't know everything. So never be afraid to say to a client, you do not know. Sir, ma'am, I will supply you with the answer before the end of the day. These are crucial things. Then, don't badmouth that company you work for. I've heard of guides, I have organized guides work with tour operators that when I sit with the owner of that tour operator for lunch and I ask, how did so-and-so do the tour? They say, you be never again. Do you know this tour guide turned to the clients and said, I would have done the tour this way or that way. You do not get in as a guide influenced on the itinerary or badmouth the tour operator on the itinerary they have chosen to give to their clients. It's all good to change itinerary while you're on tour and there's been a rain, roads closed, you have to change a route. But then you're working with a tour operator and you're saying to the tour operator, I am on the panoramic route, it's flooded out, I need to go this way or that way, are you okay with it? All good, you have each other's back. The penultimate, at the end of the day, you are working for that tour operator. That brings me to contracts. And this is a topic I've seen often on the NFTGA, and Francois, the good Francois Collins and Zania often mention, is tour guide contracts with tour operators. Guys, read that contract. Those contracts are important. They stipulate the rules and regulations that that tour operator wants you to work under. It stipulates the rates, the dress codes, the way they want you to present yourself, and how the tour has to be done. If you do not agree with it, then take that up with the tour operator, that somehow you meet each other halfway. And if it totally doesn't meet what you want, don't do the tour. But if you're going to do the tour, don't go afterwards and badmouth the tour operator. Oh, you have to wear a suit. Why? Well, that tour operator wants to look up market, and that's his rule. It's his business, not yours. You've agreed to do that work. It's as simple as that. Welcome briefings are important as well in the travel. When you start your group, especially on long distance tours, national tours, inform your people in your welcome briefing. Keep your welcome briefing short, but touch on key topics such as drinking water, what power plugs to use, monetary services, where can they draw money, how, help them at an ATM, where can they change money, where can they use cash, or where can they use ATMs. These are important things on tour, just touching a few important things. Then dress code. We are professional tour guides. Yes, there are some areas in South Africa where you do not want to wear your badge, because in certain areas of South Africa, there are people that know guides carry money. We carry a kitty with us. We've always got cash on us. So wearing your badge is sometimes a problem. But you're still a guide and you dress professionally, and you don't walk around in pluckies, and you are not on holiday. You are guiding a group. If you're on safari in Kruger and you're in a few days and you're going on a jeep, nothing wrong with it. I don't think any travel group would feel very happy or comfortable with you arriving with none safari, none shorts, no hats, in some professional clothing, and you're going in the bush. I think the lions would laugh at you. Who's this tour guide in high heels arriving in our bush? So dress appropriately, but be professional. And this also goes on how we act in the job. It's one of my biggest gripes is seeing tour guides get drunk when doing overlands. And I'm going to be crucified on this one, and I really don't care. You are on an overland tour. You're being paid to be there overland. You're away from home. And you have to, as a tour guide, be able to act in a case of emergency. someone has a heart attack at 2 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, you have to get that person to a doctor. You have to get medical attention. You have to phone people to get a doctor there. When you are drunk, you cannot do that. So keep your name clean. Have a beer at dinner, not a problem. But don't go and get slaughtered. I've seen tour guides fall out of cabs, downstairs at lodges in the Kruger. And when you approach them and you talk to them, they're smelling, they're reaching of alcohol. I want one guide in the industry to say, Yubi, you have smelt like alcohol on tour. And I've been doing this for 37 years. There are limits to these things. Keep a record of incidents. Whatever happens on tour. Phone your operator either immediately, if it's something serious, or if someone has fallen down, let's say the steps of a Jeep, he's hurt himself, take photos, include it in your incident report. Off it goes that night or as soon as possible to the tour operator that they are aware of it. It keeps yourself clean, you watching your back. So these are important things. I've probably left a whole lot of things out, and the guys like Ron McGregor and Francois Collins will add comments to this. I've been way too long, 21 minutes rambling about this. Oh, last thing, guys, just hear me out. Guys, when we sit at restaurants, I've heard this, and it's mostly with drivers, and I'm going to be doing similar blog for drivers on the Drivine. For those that don't know, if you are just the driver, we have the Drivine, which is controlled by myself and Sarah Fasaki and Sarika. It falls under the NFTGA, and this is where drivers have gripes with guides. So drivers have also got a home to go to. They can also complain about you guys. When at a dinner, at a restaurant, keep it still professional. Guys especially. Moenie onder die broek gaan praat nie. Don't talk about sexual stuff and swear. There are lady guides present. Respect that. Leave the boys talk when the boys are together and out of the ear of the ladies, but respect lady guides. Okay, that's all that is required. Respect. So I hope you enjoyed this short video and it helps a bit. More to come. Whether you like it or not, these are things that I have experienced over 37 years of guiding, and it's there to help the younger guides. Have a fantastic evening.